Episode 3, The Haze City, Synopsis. Chris, who advanced to junior high school, was living a peaceful life. However, one day, his childhood friend Sana went missing after not returning from school. Following the trail of Sana, Chris arrived behind the old school building and witnessed a strange ritual taking place inside an old warehouse. The person who was performing the ritual was someone completely unexpected. Chris and his friends set off on an adventure to find the Dragonstone, crystal element, by adding new companions. They will be led to the Haze City shrouded in thick mist to protect the Earth from the forces of darkness. Chapter 1. Chris was walking alone in the fog. It was covered in such deep fog that he couldn't see a few meters ahead. With each step he took, his field of vision opened up, and Chris just kept walking without looking back. It was a completely unfamiliar land. However, Chris didn't even question the situation. He felt compelled by something like a sense of mission to do something about it. He might be searching for something, but he can't remember what he is searching for. Could it be the crystal element? No, he has already obtained the crystal element, Aqua, a long time ago. It should be carefully stored in the central office of the TOs. Well then, what could it be?
This is a bit troubling.
A woman's voice came from somewhere. It was a voice that Chris felt he had heard somewhere before. He desperately searched his memory, wondering whose voice it could have been. It's neither Claire nor Sana. It's a more mature voice. That said, it's not Elandra, either. He couldn't recall it at all. Chris decided to give up and just ask anyway.
What exactly is the problem?
A burst of laughter echoed. Standing in front of Chris, who had suddenly looked up, was Miss Tagawa. With hands on her hips, she looks down with a bewildered expression. Chris hurriedly corrected his posture. The students in the class are laughing and paying attention.
Chris, if you ask that again, Miss Tagawa will feel bad. You have to figure out what she is struggling with.
Takeshi joked, causing everyone to laugh even more. Takeshi was in the same class as Chris even after entering middle school. As well as Yohei. It was already a cursed relationship. Sana, sitting in the front row, looked at Chris in disbelief. When her eyes met Chris's, Sana sighed and shook her head, then turned back to the front. Since the 4th grade of elementary school, it was a joyful thing for Chris to be in the same class with Sana again like this. However, on the other hand, there is also a sense of tension that requires paying attention to his words and actions. Chris looked down and slightly bowed his head. Then the bell rang.
Well, that's fine.
Miss Tagawa said with a sigh.
Mr. Uemura, come to the teacher's room after school.
Chris bowed his head again.
Lack of sleep?
No, that's not it.
Chris replied while averting his gaze. The teacher's room after school had only a few teachers present. This is because most teachers are in charge of club activities.
I heard that being a club advisor is almost like volunteering. My sister said that the salary is practically nothing, and yet, all of our teachers do a good job of teaching seriously and passionately.
Chris recalled the words of Sana.
In that regard, the basketball club advisor seems to value students' independence, so it's easier, I heard.
So, Chris joined the basketball club as he was invited by Sana. And that day, as expected, Mr. Yamada, the basketball club advisor, stayed in the teacher's room instead of going to the gym. Without noticing Chris, he is laughing and chatting with other teachers. While Chris was blankly watching the scene, Miss Tagawa called out, Mr. Uemura. Seeing Chris come to his senses with a, "Oh, yes," the teacher sighed.
Even though we have final exams next week, Other teachers have mentioned that it seems like you haven't been able to concentrate in class lately. Are you aware that you are now a junior high school student?
Miss Tagawa sighed heavily again, looking at Chris, who was looking down and replied, "Yes, I'm sorry." Then she uncrossed her legs and looked closely at Chris's face.
Is there something on your mind? I'm here to listen if you want to talk.
Chris lifted his face and met the teacher's gray eyes. Miss Tagawa was half British. She mentioned that during her self-introduction. As a result, she has a generally lighter pigmentation. Her real name is Aileen Tagawa. It's different from being given a Western name like Chris, even though he is Japanese. She truly has foreign blood that suits a Western name.
I may be a new teacher and might seem unreliable, but I intend to care for my students more than any other teachers. So, feel free to consult me about anything, okay?
Miss Tagawa leaned forward and said that when Chris replied that he had no worries. "I'm sorry," Chris said as he bowed his head.
I will be more careful from now on.
And after bowing deeply, Chris left the teacher's room. As he walked down the hallway, Chris tapped his dazed head. Recently, he has been frequently afflicted by that symptom. Suddenly, he is struck by a wave of drowsiness. His head feels heavy, and before he knows it, he's lost consciousness. He sleeps soundly every night, so he shouldn't be sleep deprived. The cause was unknown. Unsteadily, Chris headed to the club activities with a wobbly gait.